through your office, could you direct, much as the executive is answerable to the president, this is your house, this is your parliament, you are the last person here. They can behave the way they want from the other side. When it comes here, they must behave according to what you wish.
The third Deputy Prime Minister, Rukia Nakadama, informed Parliament that ministers were aware about the plenary session today, although some are still up-country, popularizing the Parish Development Model Program.
I'm going to make a follow-up on why most of the ministers are not here. In fact, some excuses were that they are still in the field about the PDM, but I'm going to make a follow-up to see that they are here tomorrow or even today.
Speaker Anita Mong informed Parliament that apart from the Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, the Minister of Education and Sports Janet Kataha Museveni, who had informed her about their absence, other ministers were expected in the House.
Maybe you need to give us a justification as why we should have 83 ministers. Do we need that justification? Are they supposed to be here to represent executive? Honorable members, that is an abuse from executive to the legislature.
Ministers' absenteeism from Parliament is a chronic, and on many occasions, issues of national importance have not been handled due to absence of cabinet ministers. Sarah Nakandi for CTV PM edition.
So, Madam Speaker, the point maybe.
Moving on, members of Parliament want the 2022-2023 budgetary allocation for science teachers to be distributed among all teachers across the board to avoid conflict of interest. The members made this revelation today while receiving a statement from the Minister of Public Service, Minister MURULI MUKASA, on the Public Workers' Salary Enhancement Plan.
The Minister for Public Service, MURULI MUKASA, this afternoon appeared on the floor of Parliament to present a statement on the pending enhancement of pay for public officers and teachers. While on the floor, Minister MURULI MUKASA revealed that government is fully committed to enhancing salaries of all government workers, although scientists were on top of the priority list. According to the minister, the global pandemic COVID-19 left government crippled and short of funds to cater for all public servants.
Cabinet considered prioritizing the enhancement of scientists, including science teachers. The scientists are critical, indeed very crucial, and are needed immediately in supporting a number of crucial sectors.
The minister, however, reiterated government's commitment to enhance all public servants' salaries should the funds arise.
Government continues to be committed to enhancement in a phased approach in accordance with the pay policy principles and the targets which were approved by Cabinet in 2017. Government intends to enhance the pay of all its employees in the medium term. As the resources become available,
in 2018, government signed a collective bargaining agreement between teachers and workers and agreed to enhance salaries in installments between 2018 to 2022. The agreement has since been violated. The Speaker of Parliament wants government to meet its end of the bargain.
Of course, you can't give what you don't have. If you don't have, you rather say you don't have, but you can't keep promising what you cannot fulfill. And these people understand. If we don't have, we don't have.
Government should equitably allocate the monies budgeted for science teachers, just in case if the resource envelope is not enough.
Where do we get this fundamental statement of science or science teachers or science as a subject or as a field is more important than the rest? I just want to know.
If arts subjects are not all that important, why shouldn't we say that as a country we no longer benefit from it, we should scrap it off?
Among also warned government against intimidating public servants who stand to fight for their rights.
We don't need to be arrogant. We need to talk to these people with humility. These people are here working. We cannot afford telling the teachers, if you want to resign, resign. No.
The minister's remarks come at a time when public servants under the Uganda Local Government Workers Union have declared a strike after government failed to fulfill its pledge. According to the union, the salary of the chief administrative officer should be enhanced from Uganda shillings 3 million to 15 million, and the lowest employee on the scale from Uganda shillings 200 to 1.7 million shillings. Ramson Mhire, CTV PM Edition.
Thank you, Ramson, for that report. Now, moving on, the National Statistics Body, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, has refuted claims by the World Bank and the United Nations that Uganda is yet to attain middle income status. This follows information that was released by the World Bank recently in its economic report, which indicates that Uganda was not anywhere near the threshold. We have that report.
On 7th June, during the State of the Nation address, the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, officially announced that Uganda had attained a lower middle-income status after having reached the World Bank's stipulated figure of gross national income of $1,046.
The entrance point for the lower middle-income status is US$ 1,036. We have now past that figure.
This revelation by the president was greeted with mixed reactions, with people, especially those in the opposition, claiming that the figures did not reflect their economic status. An economic report released by the World Bank on 1st July confirmed the sentiment of many that indeed Uganda had not crossed into the threshold. However, officials from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics have come out today to defend the president's statement.
Unless they say we are useless, we go home, and they come here and do the work. And the problem with you media, you like quoting World Bank, IMF, when you have the data here. We have gone to schools where they have passed, even higher schools. But because you hear this World Bank, IMF, you leave Uganda Bureau of Statistics.
While addressing journalists today at their headquarters in Kampala, the Executive Director of Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Dr. Chris Mukiza, revealed that they recently held a meeting with officials from the World Bank to iron out the different points of view. According to Dr. Mukiza, the World Bank gave wrong information based on old data collected in the financial year of 2020-2021.
The reference periods in the two periods is different. Whereas the report by government of Uganda was based on the financial year 2021-22 official data. The one by the World Bank was based on the financial year 2020-21. So these are two different years. The per capita income in the two periods refer to two different periods. The government of Uganda report being the most up-to-date.
He further revealed that the World Bank used population projections from the UN, which is different from the official population projection of UBOS, which is lower.
The UN media population projection for Uganda for financial year 2020-21, the reference period that the World Bank referred to is 47.1 million. However, the government of Uganda official population projection for the same period of financial year 2020-21 is 42.4 million.
On the issue of how this affects the common Ugandan, Dr. Mukiza says this might not apply to Ugandans living below the poverty line.
Of those, 10 million Ugandans are living below, are living in extreme poverty. So those ones, of course, these numbers are scientific. Although we could have hit the threshold, we need to do much to have inclusive growth that pulls those who are not sharing the benefits of that status into production.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics further emphasized that they are the only mandated body to release statistics in Uganda, and the country should not be quick to believe figures from other sources. Adams Mayambala, CTV, PM Edition.
A section of members of parliament has set up a special book at parliament where lawmakers will record land ownership conflicts in their respective constituencies. The idea of a special record is a brainchild of MP of the newly formed Uganda Parliamentarians Land Management Forum. We have that report.
Land grabbing, contested land evictions, and related wrangles are rampant in almost every part of Uganda. The phenomenon does not discriminate because both the rich and the poor are affected. A commission of inquiry into land matters that was led by Justice Catherine Bagumerere 2 years ago received 8,528 land-related conflicts from 123 districts, which means that the problem is endemic. The Uganda Land Commission, a government institution that is supposed to regulate land use and compensation in the country, is always in the spotlight over irregular transactions involving payment of huge sums of money from the land fund to brokers and well-connected individuals.
We have the Physical Infrastructure Committee, which is responsible for addressing land-related issues. But they are overwhelmed with the business related to housing, related to transport infrastructure. And if we find that little is done.
All these issues that you are saying, plus many others, which we cannot mention them fully now, it requires a body, it requires a group, it requires leadership at the highest profile, like Member of Parliament.
You have all heard about illegal evictions. Sometimes, even before the eviction takes place, there is already a pending threat, and when there is a pending threat, people cannot do the developments that they are supposed to do.
Efforts to have such issues sorted have benefited a few people, especially the rich and those who have political clout. The MPs Forum is meant to highlight land conflicts that have gone unsolved.
And we have established a booklet where members of parliament shall be registering their related land issues for us to profile them, determine the capacity information that we need to give the MPs.
If we are members of this forum, we can ably legislate, bring all stakeholders on board, so that we actually come up with concrete solutions to some of these problems.
As leaders, we are going to work with the different local governments, we are going to work with the different line ministries, we are going to work with the different civil society organizations who are ready to stand out, and we speak for these vulnerable Ugandans.
While the matters of land fall under many parliamentary committees, like the Physical Infrastructure and the Natural Resources Committee, MPs are saddened that land issues have often been neglected. That's why, according to them, a land forum is a timely platform.
We find that little is done on issues to do with land governance and dispute resolution. So, as members of parliament, from where we come from, we have identified that the land question is affecting a lot of development in our respective constituencies. There are a lot of disputes that members of parliament themselves cannot even address.
I want the parliament to consider giving the land a sub-program or a subcommittee. Why are we saying that the land deserves a special attention? Like mentioned earlier, we do have the Parliamentary Committee on Natural Resources, but land issues, especially land disputes, the issues that affect the common Ugandan, has not been given attention in these parliamentary committees.
Uganda currently occupies about 241,000 square kilometers of land. Story by Ramson Muhire for CTV PM Edition.
Moving on, President Museveni has reappointed his sister Dr. Violet Kajwiri Fralich as the Deputy Chairperson Education Service Commission. Together, Johnson Malinga and Dr. Violet Kajwiri, whose 5-year term has expired, have also been reappointed. The immediate task is to recruit more teachers, since many slots are vacant across the country.
In the name of the Almighty God.
Members of the Education Service Commission who are sworn in today have a task of filling vacant teaching slots across the country. The vacancy rate stands at 42%, according to the commission, whose staff members are currently interviewing teachers who will fill the gaps. More than 30,000 teachers applied for the vacancies, but only 5,000 teachers are needed. According to Professor Samuel Boga, the chairman of the commission, the ongoing teacher recruitment is a major great milestone in the education sector, although the numbers are still low.
And when those are filled, you can expect a great improvement in the quality of education.
This comes after arts teachers ended a devastating 3-week strike. The industrial action was triggered by a decision by government to enhance salaries of only science teachers. Professor Luboga urged teachers who are still hesitating to end the strike to go back to class.
Nature does not like a vacuum. So if they leave those vacancies open for a long time, they'll be filled somehow. I'm hoping that they will come back, and we will not rest until we have a highly motivated teaching staff, because without that, we do not have quality education.
The reappointed commissioners took their oath before Principal Judge Dr. Flavian Nzeija at the High Court in Kampala.
I implore you to be true to your oath. The oath you have taken is a covenant to which you bind yourselves by law. It is a divine witness before God and man that you shall perform as you have spoken. The oath also serves as a public pledge that you understand the requirements of the position you are occupying and that you will do your best to meet or exceed those requirements.
Dr. Kajibiri says their major focus is improving the sector.
Change is already coming. I think the president has already said that the science teachers are going to earn more. And this is a beginning. It's going to go slowly, slowly, slowly. Change is also not a one-time thing. Change is a process.
Dr. Kajibiri is serving her 4th term on the commission. Flavian Nkuzes, CTV, PM Edition.
Thank you for staying with us. PM Edition takes a short break, but we'll be right back with more stories. Don't blink.
Your biggest business opportunity is here. It's the first edition of the PPDA Business Expo. Come and exhibit, sell and buy, and attend free skills development sessions. Learn how to start and manage a family business in farming. Find out how you can win tenders from government. Plus, discover investment opportunities. Join us from 8th to 10th July at Kololo Independence Grounds, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Don't miss performances by Shiba and Spice Diana. Only 5,000 shillings. For more information, call 0704-627-696 or send us an email. This message is brought to you by PPDA and Partners.
Watching PM Edition right here on CTV. I'm Agi Owase with Isaiah Muzi on sign language. Moving on, the Committee on Commission Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises investigations have today continued with its investigation in the 10.6 billion shillings supplementary budget that was awarded to the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, only to be awarded with ghost claimants. Today, the senior government valuer Yasin Swad Bogezi with officials from the Land Commission appeared before COSASE to elaborate more on the matter.
While appearing before the committee, Swad Bogezi, a senior government valuer, revealed that each acre of land was valued 4.5 million, totaling to 2.3 billion when he started this project in July 2020.
We zeroed down to 4.5 million per acre. Not hectare, because usually they sell it in acres.
Okay, so again, what I'm trying to establish is, how did you say, because the LCs told you 2 million, other people said 6 million, the sellers, like you're saying?
We make additions or reductions depending on, for example, you'll find that the comparable we've been given is too near the road, according to this one.
Another person who also appeared before the committee, Dennis Kahabura, the Commissioner for Land Registration in Kibale District, told the members that the son-in-law of Natalia Namuli, one of the claimants of the land, who was awarded 2.3 billion shillings, had applied for a special certificate of title with documents from court, and that's why they followed to process her title immediately without doing a due diligence.
Notice was given and the gazette was issued, and subsequently the title was issued after 30 days, because the law provides that the notice to gazette runs for 30 days. So after 30 days, the title was issued. And after the title was issued, the applicant, the administrator, to be registered as an administrator. The Registration of Titles Act does not provide for verification. But as a new practice, we have found out that most court documents are forged.
Kahabura's remarks today angered the committee chairperson Joel Sonyonyi, who revealed that their incompetency led to loss of tax money.
Did you verify these particular documents of Natalia Namuli?
In the instant case, no.
Why? Why didn't you verify? Because this is a huge chunk of land which eventually fetches a lot of money. You're talking about over 2 billion shillings. You didn't consider it necessary to actually verify this particular one.
Mr. Chair, as I noted earlier, that we are guided by the law when we are registering documents. As far as registration of letters of administration or any document, in land registration, we are guided by the RTA, Registration of Titles Act. The Registration of Titles Act does not talk about verification.
The committee also noticed that Uganda Land Commission still had not changed the title from Natalia Namuli's name to the Uganda Land Commission.
Is there any transfer which has ever been lodged in your office to transfer this land in the names of ULC?
No.
It is not.
Of course, yes, we can fault ULC for delaying, but now that facts emerge that actually this was a forgery, ULC cannot acquire a title based on a forgery.
The committee then handed over Dennis Kahabura to Parliament Police Criminal Investigation Department to provide more information. The Commissioner for Land Registration, Becca Mugaino, was also directed to start processing for cancelling of Natalia Namuli's title. Sarah Nakandi for CTV PM Edition.
Council here was saying is which go.
Thank you, Sarah Nakandi, for that report. Now, members of parliament want the ongoing UPDF recruitment drive halted until all the recruits are verified. According to the legislators, the recruitment process is full of irregularities and is flawed as well.
During the plenary sitting held today afternoon, the Tororo woman MP Sarah Opendi raised concerns about the UPDF recruitment that concluded on 4th this month. Opendi intimated that several members have been from one region to another, violating the rules of recruitment.
Tororo was getting 120 slots, Right Honourable Speaker. And to our surprise, Right Honourable Speaker, very many of the young people were not taken. The local leaders who were present, the RDC, district officials, tried to verify the list of, requested to verify the purported lists of the people from Tororo. They were not allowed, Right Honourable Speaker, to look at this list.
Other members of parliament also jumped on the issue, which they claim has been witnessed in other constituencies.
Press have HIV and AIDS. We wanted to verify whether this is true. And I'm just wondering, has the scourge of HIV taken our country by storm?
We were carried from somewhere else. They came and got recruited from Amuru. Our people were not taken, Right Honourable Speaker. We need to investigate the recruitment of the UPDF.
And the same thing is happening with the UWA. The same thing happens with the UPDF. It happens with the prisons.
The members now want the Prime Minister and Security Minister to come out on the matter.
And our prayer, Right Honourable Speaker, is that these lists are verified because the reason for allocating numbers to the districts is to ensure that the army has a national character. However, when we have people brought in from other areas and they fill up the positions purporting to be people from Tororo, we are not going to have a national character.
So we want transparency from UPDF and what they are doing, because our young people want to join the army.
These members or the people who have come from other places have got a stamp of our LOC ones. So we need to talk to them,
for the local leaders to have this list verified. Because if you look at my own district, people, you cannot tell me you can get a name of somebody from somewhere coming from Bukedea. That is not acceptable.
The exercise of UPDF recruitment has been ongoing across the country with a target of 10,000 recruits. Ramson Muhire, CTV edition.
Stakeholders in the education sector have been encouraged to elevate priorities to unfunded bids in the education sector. This revelation was made at a half-day engagement with partners supporting education service delivery in the city, organized by the Directorate of Education and Social Services with support from UNICEF. Let's take a look.
According to research conducted in 2019 by Kampala Capital City Authority, 30% of the children in KCCA schools were failing to complete their primary education because of repeating classes, while others were just dropping out of school. Statistics today indicate that the teacher-pupil ratio in Kampala currently stands at 1:50, which is way below the international standard of 1:17. Deputy Lord Mayor Doreen Nyanjura is now calling for the recruitment of more teachers.
For purposes of enabling better concentration by the teachers as to boost the academic performance of our pupils.
Today, stakeholders responsible for improvement of the education sector in Uganda convened in Kampala to pave a way forward. Doreen Nyanjura, the Deputy Lord Mayor for Kampala, today called for collective funding from all stakeholders to create a better learning area for pupils in the city of Kampala.
To improve our education sector, you will not only have supported KCCA, but you will be roundly supporting the growth and development of our country, politically, socially, and economically.
Ambrose Tashobia, Chairman for National Council Sports, today called for synergies to help nature pupils in sports.
Ensuring that there's sports infrastructure for our kids in the schools and in our communities, and we believe that we have, the resources, we have the federations that can come and offer whatever they can to grow sports by teaching the teachers, by teaching the kids the sports themselves. So we want to create a bit of hubs in different schools so that this school is prominent for this particular sport.
Dorothy Chisaka, the Executive Director of Kampala Capital City Authority, challenged the government to increase funding for the smooth running of city schools, noting that they need 500 billion shillings, but at the moment they are only receiving 26 billion. Kampala Capital City Authority has 79 primary schools with 22 secondary schools under them. Shamim Wetendo, City PM edition.
In our regional news tonight, a convoy carrying security personnel of Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has been attacked by gunmen ahead of a visit to his home state in the northwest. While Sudan's main civilian bloc, Forces for Freedom and Change, has rejected a proposal by the country's coup leader to make way for civilian government. We have that report. A convoy carrying security personnel of Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari was attacked by gunmen ahead of a visit to his home state in the northwest, the presidency said. President Buhari was not in the convoy when assailants opened fire on several vehicles, wounding 2 people. The attack is yet another reminder of the widespread insecurity in Africa's most populous country. Buhari is due to visit his hometown of Dora in Katsina State over the weekend to celebrate a Muslim festival. The gunmen opened fire near Dora on the convoy carrying the security team, including officers of the Department of State Services, Presidential Protocol, and Press Office, the presidency said in a statement on Tuesday night. The presidency said that the attackers opened fire on the convoy but were repelled by military police and Department of State Services officers. The Nigerian security forces are deployed on multiple fronts in the northeast, where a jihadist insurgency has been raging since 2009. Security operatives are also deployed in the northwest and the center, where multiple criminal gangs of all kinds are rampant, as well as in the southeast region, which are regular prey of separatist agitations. Moving on, Sudan's main civilian bloc, Forces for Freedom and Change, has rejected a proposal by the country's coup leader to make way for a civilian government as a giant trick and urged more protests. The rejection was announced on after a surprise move by the army on Monday to make room for civilian groups to form a new transitional government. Omar El Degir, executive of the civilian bloc of the Forces for Freedom and Change, said General Abdel Fattah's speech is vague and full of double meanings. He said General Fattah wants the military to return to their barracks, but at the same time, he wants to take the civilian power to the barracks in order to reinforce his control even more than before. On the streets of Khartoum, protesters defied security forces and held firm on their makeshift barricades despite heavy fatalities late last week. The Forces of Freedom and Change has so far refused to take part in talks with military leaders despite pressure from international brokers that range from the United Nations to the African Union and regional bloc IGAD. In addition to the sit-ins in Khartoum, Omdurman and Khartoum North, other sit-ins were set up in the provinces. Protests also spread to other cities on Tuesday, including Wad Madani, 200 kilometers south of the capital, where hundreds staged a sit-in according to witnesses. In our international news, embattled United Kingdom Prime Minister Boris Johnson has insisted he will stay in office despite a growing Tory revolt against his leadership. And in Ukraine, residents have been told to leave Ukraine's eastern city of Sloviansk a day after 2 people were killed in a Russian attack on a market. Boris Johnson has insisted he will stay in office despite a growing Tory revolt against his leadership. At Prime Minister's questions, he said he had a colossal mandate from the 2019 election and would keep going. It comes as ministers continue to quit government or party positions, with backbenchers also withdrawing their support. Labour's Sir Keir Starmer said the Conservatives had become a corrupted party defending the indefensible. Mr. Johnson's premiership has been plunged into crisis following the dramatic resignations of Chancellor Rishi Sunak and Health Secretary Sajid Javid. They quit within minutes of each other on Tuesday following a row over Johnson's decision to appoint Chris Pincher as Deputy Chief Whip earlier this year. Their departures have triggered a wave of further resignations, with a number of ministers going. Kemi Badenoch, Alex Baga, Neil O'Brien, Julia Lopez, Alex Baga, Mint Davis, and Lee Rowley are among the latest departures. At Prime Minister's questions, Keir took aim at ministers who have resigned in recent days, saying their decision not to quit before showed they lack a shred of integrity, and the Labour leader rounded on those who have stayed in post, mocking them as the Z-list cast of nodding dogs keeping the Prime Minister in power. He added they were only in office because no one else is prepared to debase themselves any longer, calling them the charge of the Light White Brigade. Tory backbencher Gary Sambrook accused Johnson of blaming other people for his mistakes and was applauded after calling him to resign. And elsewhere, residents have been told to leave Ukraine's eastern city of Sloviansk a day after 2 people were killed in a Russian attack on a market. Civilians boarded minibuses on Wednesday morning as Russian forces advanced from the north and the east. The UK Defense Intelligence said there was a realistic possibility the Battle of Sloviansk would be the next key contest in the struggle for Donbass.
Russian forces were likely to be 16 kilometers north of the city, according to the UK Defense Intelligence. Donetsk Governor Pavlo Kirilenko said that Russians had turned the entire Donetsk region into a hotspot where it was dangerous for a civilian to remain. Russia switched its focus to Ukraine's eastern Donbas region in March after a failed bid to capture the capital, Kyiv. It has taken control of Luhansk region to the north and east of Sloviansk and has now pushed on to the rest of Donetsk. The industrial Donbas embraces Donetsk and Luhansk.
Bulk, about 90,000, who align themselves with the Ukrainian government.
Thank you for staying with us. PM Edition takes a short break, but we'll be right back with more in the world of sports. Don't go away.
Love sports? We do too. We got you covered. The Sports Dish, your daily lunchtime sports show that serves the intrigue, breaks down the act, and gives you an in-depth analysis of the odds. Who's going up? Who's going down? Catch all the thrilling action right here on the Sports Dish. Clive Chazé. Now showing on CTV. Don't blink. The big debate is back. Bigger, bolder, reloaded. Whether it is securing your future, holding fast to the people power, or the promise of a one Uganda, one thing is certain, the big debate is on.
So why don't you respect the memories of doctors for this? We have already addressed the issue of increment.
How many people have ever been convicted?
Okay.
The way the politics plays in cabinet.
So now why are they asking for the statement?
Follow mainstream conversations on current affairs and leading policy debates in Uganda.
It is in our interest to handle arrested people very nicely.
Right here on the big debate.
Let me finalize this. I was quiet. I was quiet.
It's a hard-hitting talk show on development issues in the political and social economic arena. Discussions that inform policy and trigger high-level dialogue. Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Welcome back from that very short break. PM Edition continues in the sports world. I'm Agi Oase with Isaac Luchamuzi on sign language. The Crested Cranes have suffered a second consecutive loss at the ongoing 2022 Women Africa Cup of Nations to further minimize their chances of a place in the last 8. The Crested Cranes were beaten 3-1 by host Morocco at the Price Muli Abdallah Sports Complex in Rabat yesterday. We have that report.
It is not all rosy in the Crested Cranes camp at the